My name is Mark. I'm 46 years old, I run my own small architectural design firm, and I thought I had the kind of life every man dreams of. A beautiful wife, 2 amazing kids, and a home I built with my own hands. I met Lindsay back in college. She was driven, sharp, the kind of woman who knew how to command a room without even raising her voice. We started as friends, then everything just clicked. We got married young. I was 27, she was 24. At first, things were rough, like they are in any marriage. We argued. We made up. We had passion. We had struggle. But we always made it through. Or so I thought. For years, we built a life. Raised our kids, worked hard, saved up, traveled when we could. I'd take them camping every summer. Lindsay loved the beach. She always wanted us to spend a weekend at the coast, our little escape. I didn't grow up with much, but I gave them everything I could. And I believed, for a long time, that we were happy. That belief started to crack 2 years ago. Lindsay took a new job as a project director for a fast-growing tech company. Fully remote, big responsibilities, long hours. I was proud of her. I supported her every step of the way. But as her career grew, her warmth toward me faded. At first, I brushed it off as stress. Deadlines. Exhaustion. I tried to help. Cooked dinner more often. Took the kids to school. Gave her space. But then the little things started piling up. She'd spend more time on her phone than with us. She stopped kissing me goodnight. Stopped laughing at my jokes. Our conversations turned into short exchanges. Like she was checking a box. I remember the first real moment I felt it. We were watching a movie, just the 2 of us on the couch. The kids were asleep. Her phone buzzed. She smiled at it. Not just a smile, that kind of half-hidden grin that tells you everything you need to know. I leaned in, curious. She tilted the screen away, fast. Real fast. Then gave me a look like I'd just slapped her. Can you not? She snapped. It's just work. I didn't argue. But I felt it. In my gut. Something had shifted. I started paying attention. Really paying attention. She'd run errands and come back 2 hours later, no bags. Her phone never left her hand, not even in the shower. She started taking calls outside. Whispering. Laughing. Deflecting. And the worst part? I started questioning myself. Wondering if I was just being paranoid. Maybe I was overthinking it. Maybe I was losing it. So I tried harder. Planned date nights. Surprised her with breakfast in bed. Bought tickets to a concert she used to love. But every time, the same response, a forced smile, a distracted thank you, then back to her phone. At night, I'd lie awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering when she stopped loving me. Wondering if I did something wrong. I even asked her, straight up, is there someone else? She rolled her eyes and walked out of the room. That was when I knew. Not just suspected, knew. But I had no proof. No confession. Nothing to confront her with. And Lindsay was smart. She deleted texts, cleared call logs, kept things tight. I couldn't just barge in and scream accusations. That's not me. I'm not that guy. So I waited. And I watched. One night, about a month after that, she told me she had to go to a team strategy retreat. A weekend trip. Supposedly booked by the company. She said it was all business, nothing fancy. Just planning sessions. I nodded. Played dumb. Asked her what hotel they'd booked. She hesitated. Then said she didn't remember the name. Didn't remember? Lindsay was the kind of woman who had a spreadsheet for every vacation. She knew hotel names, star ratings, and how far it was from the Europe. But this time, she didn't remember? That was it. When she left that Friday morning, I called in a favor from an old friend who worked in private security. I gave him what I had, her work schedule, the license plate on her car, and a simple request: find out where she's really going. That weekend was the longest of my life. I sat in my office with the blinds shut, drinking bad coffee and trying not to spiral. The kids were with my sister. I didn't want them around for any of this. I needed to be alone. Sunday evening, my phone buzzed. My buddy sent a message, short and brutal: she's at Lakeview Villas. Room 203. She's not alone. He included a photo. Her car. Parked next to a black BMW. I knew that car. It belonged to her team lead. A man she once told me was kind of annoying but harmless. A man she mentioned exactly 3 times, and then never again. I stared at that photo for hours. Not because I needed more proof, but because part of me still didn't believe it. Even with everything I saw, everything I felt, I didn't want it to be real. But it was. And right then, something inside me broke. Not in the way you might think. I didn't collapse. I didn't scream or cry or throw things. I just stopped feeling sorry for myself. The fog of confusion lifted. And what came next was clarity. Cold, hard, absolute clarity. She had made her choice. Now it was time for me to make mine. That night, I didn't sleep. Not because I was sad. Not because I was heartbroken. But because my mind was finally awake. I sat at my kitchen table with the lights off, sipping cold coffee, listening to the silence of a house that used to feel like home. The house felt different now. Smaller. Colder. Like even the walls had turned their back on me. I wasn't a victim anymore. Not in my mind. I was a man with a purpose. And that changed everything. Monday morning, she walked back into the house like nothing had happened. Wearing that same black coat she always wore after a trip, her travel routine, she used to call it. I watched her place her luggage down, stretch her arms, and sigh. I said nothing. She didn't even look at me. Instead, she walked into the bathroom and started a shower. 15 minutes later, she came out in her robe, damp hair, towel over her shoulder. I stood at the kitchen counter, holding a cup of coffee. She glanced at me. "Morning," she said, casually. I nodded. "Have fun?" I asked. She hesitated, just for a second. Then smiled. "It was productive," she said. "Tiring. You know how these things go." I sipped my coffee. She walked past me and grabbed some juice from the fridge. Just like that. Like she hadn't spent the weekend in bed with another man. Like I was just some roommate who didn't need to know anything. I didn't confront her. Not yet. I wanted her to feel safe. I wanted her to believe that she was still in control. Because the truth was, I had already begun to take it all back. That week, I made 2 important calls. One to a divorce attorney. And one to someone I hadn't spoken to in years, Lauren. Lauren was the wife of the man my wife had been sleeping with. She and I had met at a company Christmas party 3 years ago. Nice woman. Quiet, polite, the kind who seemed too gentle for the corporate world. I didn't know how she'd respond, but I had to take the risk. I messaged her first. Told her I had information she needed to see. I kept it short, respectful. No anger. No drama. She responded 3 hours later. I had my suspicions, she wrote. Come over tomorrow. 5 p.m. When I arrived at her house, she was already waiting at the door. No makeup. Hair tied back. Eyes red. I knew the look. I'd seen it in the mirror for weeks. We sat down at her kitchen table. I showed her the photos. The texts I had recovered with help. Even the hotel confirmation under her husband's company email. She said nothing for 5 minutes. Then she stood up, walked to the sink, and vomited. I didn't know what to say. I just waited. Eventually, she came back, wiped her face, and said, I knew. I just didn't want it to be true. I nodded. That's when we made a pact. No screaming. No public scenes. No petty revenge. We were going to be better than them. Smarter. Colder. We started exchanging information. Dates. Messages. Times when our spouses said they were working late. We lined it all up. The picture became clear, painfully clear. This had been going on for almost 2 years. They used business trips, long lunches, late-night meetings, and even our homes. Yes, our homes. She'd been in my bed, with him. He'd been in Lauren's house, with my wife. That night, after I got home, I sat in my garage. Alone. I looked around at the things I built. My tools. My old motorcycle. Photos from family trips. And I realized I had wasted so much time trying to protect something that was already gone. From that moment, I knew this wasn't just about ending a marriage. It was about reclaiming my dignity. I started recording everything. Every strange phone call. Every lie. Every late-night text. I even went through the home network logs to track what devices connected and when. Turns out, she had a second phone. One she hid in her car. Lauren found the same thing with her husband. They weren't even being careful anymore. They thought we were blind. Or maybe they didn't care. One night, Lindsay fell asleep on the couch. Her main phone unlocked. I scrolled through it. Nothing. Every chat, scrubbed clean. But she forgot one thing. Photos. She had a hidden album. Poorly hidden, really. And in it, dozens of images. Most were harmless. Selfies. Scenery. But one hit me like a truck. It was them. On a rooftop. Smiling. Laughing. His hand around her waist. Her lips on his cheek. A perfect moment, preserved. I stared at that photo for 10 minutes. Then I forwarded it to myself, deleted it from her phone, and locked it again. She never knew. The next day, I called my lawyer. And I told him to draft the papers. But I wasn't going to mail them. Oh no. I wanted her to feel what I felt. The shock. The betrayal. The helplessness. So I waited. I waited for their next work trip. And when Lindsay told me she'd be out of town next weekend, for another team offsite, I smiled. And said, of course, babe. Take all the time you need. I spent the next few days in total silence. Not because I didn't have anything to say. But because silence was the only thing that kept me calm. Lindsay walked around the house like everything was fine. She'd hum while folding laundry. Smile at the kids during dinner. Even lean in to kiss me on the cheek, as if nothing had changed. But behind that smile was a lie. And behind my silence, was a plan. Her next business retreat was scheduled for Saturday and Sunday. She told me it would be at a conference center 2 hours north. Said there'd be no signal up there, so not to worry if I couldn't reach her. I smiled back and said, "No problem. I trust you." That was the last lie I ever told her. I already knew the truth. Lauren and I had the full itinerary. It wasn't a conference center. It was a luxury cabin rental tucked away near the lake. A couples-only weekend package. Private chef. Jacuzzi. Rose petals on the bed. They booked it under fake names, but not fake enough. Amateurs. I spent Thursday finalizing everything with my lawyer. Friday, I met with a process server and a local deputy. And Saturday morning, I packed a small bag, kissed my kids goodbye, and drove out, not to relax, but to deliver the most satisfying message of my life. I arrived an hour before they were supposed to check in. Lauren was already nearby, coordinating her own side of the operation. She had her husband's papers ready, along with the same plan I had. Neither of them knew what was coming. And that was the best part. I sat in my car, parked near the entrance, watching. Minutes passed. Then, there they were. Her car rolled in. He was in the passenger seat. They were laughing. Holding hands. The way she used to laugh with me. The way she used to reach for my hand when we were young. They didn't notice me. Didn't see my car. Didn't suspect a thing. They pulled into the driveway, grabbed their bags, and disappeared into the cabin. That was my cue. I walked up to the main office, met with the deputy and the server, and gave them the go. I stayed outside. I wanted to be the last thing she saw before her fantasy shattered. 10 minutes later, I saw the door open. Lindsay walked out in a white robe. Her hair was wet. She was barefoot. And when she saw me standing by the trees, holding the envelope, her face went pale. "Mark," she said, blinking, confused. What are you doing here?" The deputy stepped forward. "We are here to serve legal documents. Can I confirm your name?" She didn't even answer. Just stared at me, shaking her head. I said nothing. Just held the envelope out. When she took it, her hands trembled. She opened it slowly. Her eyes darted back and forth across the first page. Then she looked up at me. Tears already forming. No, Mark, please, this isn't what you think." I interrupted. "This is exactly what I think." She stepped forward. Tried to grab my arm. "Please, don't do this," she whispered. "I love you." I pulled my arm back. "You loved me 2 years ago," I said. "Now you love him." She started crying. Pleading. Saying it was a mistake. That she was just confused. That it didn't mean anything. I looked at her one last time. And said the only thing that mattered. "You made your choice. Now you live with it." Then I turned and walked away. She didn't follow. The deputy stayed behind. I got in my car, closed the door, and sat there for a minute. My hands were steady. My breathing, calm. For the first time in months, maybe years, I felt like myself again. Powerful. Decisive. Free. As I drove away, I got a text from Lauren. Served. No other words. She didn't need any. She knew exactly what I was feeling. Later that night, Lindsay called me 6 times. Left voicemails. Texts. She even emailed me. I don't know what I was thinking. I was lost. I never stopped loving you. I can change. I'll do anything. But the thing about betrayal is, once it happens, there's no going back. She didn't just cheat on me. She disrespected me. Lied to me. Made me feel small. And I let it happen, until I didn't. I didn't need revenge. I didn't need to hurt her. I just needed to remove her. From my life. From my heart. From my future. And I had done exactly that. The next day, she came home. I didn't speak to her. She tried everything, cooking dinner, sitting next to me on the couch, wearing that perfume I used to love. But all I saw when I looked at her was a stranger. A stranger who once wore my wife's face. She asked to talk. I said no. She asked for a second chance. I said nothing. She cried in the kitchen that night. And I didn't comfort her. Because I remembered all the nights I cried alone. While she was in someone else's arms. The divorce was officially underway. And I wasn't turning back. The days after the hotel confrontation were strange. Not quiet, not loud. Just tense. Like living in a house that's already burned down, but the smoke's still in the air. Lindsay stayed in the guest room. I didn't ask her to. She just knew. She moved her things slowly. One drawer at a time. Like she thought I'd stop her. I didn't. She tried to act normal. Tried to cook breakfast. Tried to make conversation. Tried to smile. But I wasn't playing that game anymore. Whatever she thought we still had? It died the moment she walked into that cabin with him. She left it there, along with her dignity. And now, she wanted me to pretend it never happened. But I'm not that kind of man. She started therapy a week later. Told me about it like I was supposed to be impressed. I'm doing the work, she said. I'm facing my demons. I nodded. Good for her. But I wasn't her reward. I wasn't some trophy she'd win back after learning how to apologize. One night, about 2 weeks in, she knocked on my door. I was sitting in bed, reading. She peeked in and said, "Do you have a minute?" I looked up. Then nodded once. She stepped in. Closed the door behind her. Stood there awkwardly. Then finally said, "I know I broke something, maybe everything. But I still believe we can rebuild. If you'd let me." Her voice was shaky. Soft. Like the old Lindsay. The one from before. But I didn't forget the one from that hotel room. She kept talking. "I've been reading, learning. I've joined a support group. I've cut all contact with him." I raised an eyebrow. "Only after you got caught." She nodded slowly. "I know. But I want to change. Not just for you, for me." She stepped closer. "I love you, Mark. I never stopped. I got lost. I stayed quiet. Because everything she said? I'd already told myself, back when I thought I was the problem. Back when she was cold. Distant. Cruel. I asked her one question. Why him? She blinked. Looked down. Then said something I didn't expect. He made me feel powerful. Powerful. That one word hit harder than all her excuses. She didn't cheat because I failed. She cheated because she wanted to feel more important than the life we built together. She traded loyalty for attention. She traded love for ego. I looked at her, really looked at her, and realized. I didn't recognize the woman in front of me anymore. She stood there, waiting for something. Anything. A sign of forgiveness. A crack in the wall. But I had none to give. Lindsay, I said, I'm not angry anymore. She looked relieved. But that doesn't mean I forgive you. Her face dropped. I'm proud of the work you're doing. But you're doing it for yourself. Not for me. She swallowed hard. So you really going through with it? I nodded. Yes. The divorce is happening. She started crying again. I don't want to lose you. I stood up. Walked past her. Opened the door. You lost me a long time ago. And I left her there. Alone. In silence. The next morning, I found a letter on the kitchen table. Handwritten. Pages long. It was her attempt at explaining everything. How she felt ignored. How she felt unappreciated. How she never meant to fall for him. I didn't read the whole thing. I didn't need to. I already knew how the story ended. I had lived it. And I was done rereading that chapter. Over the next few weeks, she tried everything. Therapy sessions. Self-help books. Love letters. Homemade meals. Even lingerie. But I saw through all of it. She wasn't trying to fix the marriage. She was trying to fix her image. Trying to fix how I saw her. But here's the truth. You can't unsee betrayal. You can't feel humiliation. You can't pretend the knife in your back wasn't twisted. One evening, I came home and found her sitting with our wedding album. She looked up with tears in her eyes. Do you remember this day? She asked. I nodded. Of course I do. It was the happiest day of my life, she whispered. I stared at her for a moment. Then said, then why did you ruin it? She had no answer. Just more tears. And I didn't feel sorry for her. Not anymore. Because I'd cried enough for both of us. At night, when I lay in bed, I don't think about her. I think about my kids. About my future. About the kind of man I'm becoming. And I realize something powerful. I didn't just lose a wife. I lost a weight. A weight I didn't even know I was carrying. And now? I feel lighter. Stronger. Clearer. I'm not rebuilding my life because she wants me back. I'm rebuilding it because I want me back. And that is a future I can finally believe in. By the time the divorce date was set, she was in full panic mode. She'd stopped sleeping in the guest room. Started hovering in the hallway. Waiting to catch me in conversation. Any excuse to talk. She brought me coffee in the mornings. Left goodnight notes on my nightstand. Started wearing her old perfume. The one she used to put on when we were first dating. I didn't say a word about it. Because I didn't need to. She knew exactly what she was doing. One night. She came to my room again. Knocked once. I didn't answer. She opened the door anyway. Wearing nothing but one of my old shirts. Tears in her eyes. Voice barely a whisper. I miss you, she said. I didn't respond. I know you hate me, she continued. But I still love you. And I want to make it right. She stepped closer. I'll do anything. Therapy. Counseling. Time apart. Whatever it takes. I set my book down. Looked her in the eyes. You had 2 years, I said. 2 years to fight for this marriage. 2 years to choose me. She fell to her knees. I was stupid. I was selfish. I know that now. I'll never look at another man again. I'll give you everything. You don't even have to love me back. Just, let me stay. I stood up. Walked past her. and said, "No." Her head dropped. And for the first time, I think she actually realized it was over. Not maybe. Not possibly. Not someday. Over. She moved out the next weekend. I helped carry her bags to the car. She cried the whole time. I didn't. Not once. Because I'd already done my mourning. I'd already buried the woman I married. The woman who left. The moment she climbed into another man's bed. I wasn't burying her again. A few days later, the texts started coming. From her. From her sister. From her mom. "Mark, she's trying so hard. She made a mistake. People change. Think about the kids. You being cold. You're better than this." I ignored most of them. Until her mother called me directly. A long voicemail. Saying I was too proud. That forgiveness is a part of love. That Lindsay had learned her lesson. I didn't respond. Because there's one thing people don't understand until they've lived it. Forgiveness and trust are not the same thing. You can forgive someone and still never trust them again. And once the trust is gone, so is the relationship. My kids asked questions, of course. They are not stupid. They knew something was wrong. I sat them down. Told them, gently. Mom and I won't be living together anymore. But we both love you. That will never change. My daughter looked at me and asked, "Is it because she lied to you?" I paused. Then said, "Yes. And because she broke something I can't fix." They cried. I did too. But kids? They're stronger than we give them credit for. And when they saw that I wasn't broken, that I was steady, they calmed down. I told them we'd be okay. And I meant it. A few weeks passed. Lindsay kept trying. Emails. Letters. Even flowers at my office. But the worst part? She started using guilt. She said the kids were acting out at her place. Said they were angry because I poisoned them against her. She begged me to stop talking to that woman, Lauren. Said it was disrespectful and inappropriate. That I was hurting her more by staying close to someone who hates her. I reminded her. She created that hatred. Not me. I didn't write the texts. I didn't book the hotels. I didn't destroy the family. She did. And now, she had to live with it. Eventually, I stopped answering entirely. She couldn't reach me through emotion. So she tried one last angle. Sex. She showed up at my door one night in a dress I hadn't seen in years. Hair done. Makeup perfect. Asked if we could talk. I said no. She stepped forward anyway. Whispered in my ear. "I know what you miss. Let me remind you." I stepped back. Looked her in the eyes. And said, "You don't get to use my body to fix your guilt." She stood there, frozen. I closed the door. And I locked it behind her. That was the last time I saw her in person. The divorce finalized 2 weeks later. She cried in court. I didn't. She said she'd never stop loving me. I didn't respond. Because sometimes silence is louder than any speech. It's been 6 months now. I sleep well. I laugh more. I'm not bitter. I'm just done. Done letting betrayal define me. Done living in the shadow of what could have been. Done pretending she was ever who I thought she was. She wanted me to be broken. To beg. To make her feel better about what she did. But I'm not here to comfort a liar. I'm here to rebuild a life. One day at a time. Without her. Without regret. Without mercy. That's how long it's been since the papers were signed. Since she packed the last of her things. Since I stood in that courtroom, looked her in the eye, and said nothing. I walked out of that building a free man. And I never looked back. The first few weeks were strange. Quiet. Still. Almost too still. No passive-aggressive comments in the kitchen. No fake good mornings. No cold shoulders in bed. Just peace. And when you've lived with noise for so long, peace can feel like a void. But I grew into it. I filled that space with real things. Good things. I started waking up early again, not because I had to, but because I wanted to. Coffee on the porch. Sunrise. Birds. Stillness. I started hitting the gym again. Eating better. Reading more. Living like a man with a future. Not a man tied to the past. People kept asking if I'd date again. I told them, eventually. But right now? I'm dating myself. And for once, that's enough. The kids are adjusting well. Better than I expected. They know the truth, the age-appropriate version. They know their mom made mistakes. And they know I chose not to live in a lie. I told them something one night, something I think they'll carry forever. I said, it's okay to forgive people. But it's also okay to leave them behind. They nodded. They understood more than I thought they would. Lindsay still tries. She sends the occasional message. Birthdays. Holidays. Random memories. I don't respond. Not out of hate. But because some doors aren't meant to be reopened. Some bridges are better burned. Lauren, the other betrayed spouse, and I still talk sometimes. Not romantically. Not emotionally. Just two people who survived the same storm. We helped each other through the wreckage. Now we both walk our own roads. She's doing well. Stronger than ever. Turns out, betrayal doesn't break everyone. Some of us rise because of it. And me? I'm not just rising. I'm rebuilding. One brick at a time. New routines. New boundaries. New standards. I no longer apologize for needing honesty. For demanding loyalty. For cutting people off who show me their worst. I earned this version of me. Through fire. Through silence. Through long nights staring at the ceiling, wondering if I was enough. Spoiler alert? I always was. She just didn't see it. Or maybe she didn't want to. And that's fine. Because now I see it. And I'll never let someone blind me again. Recently, I took a trip. Just me and the kids. Rented a cabin by the lake. Same lake she once went to, with him. Except this time, there were no lies. No secrets. Just laughs. Fishing. Campfires. And real moments that no one could take away. As we packed up to leave, my daughter hugged me and said, "Dad, I like you better like this." I smiled. Me too. It's funny. You spend years thinking someone else is your other half. Only to realize you were whole all along. They were just extra weight. Noise. Clutter. And when they are gone, you finally have space. Space to breathe. To grow. To find out who you really are when no one's lying to your face. So here's what I'll leave you with. If you've been betrayed, don't rush to heal for anyone else. Don't chase closure from the one who hurt you. Don't try to fix what someone chose to break. Just walk away. Quietly. Strongly. And start over. Because you deserve better than someone who treats your love like it's disposable. You deserve peace. And peace isn't loud. It doesn't scream. It doesn't beg. It just is. Like a sunrise you almost missed. But caught just in time. That's where I am now. Right here. In the quiet. Watching the sun rise over my own life. And this time? I'm not sharing it with anyone who doesn't deserve it.